Hi, if you want to come on in, have a seat. We're here for Miyuki. Here is your ink blot made in your name and essence. If you want to take a screenshot, Vanna White style, so you can scry on your own time and terms for any shapes or symbols that speak. I appreciate you holding space for me to share my insights as we empathically explore. I'm going to close my eyes, cleansing the palate, releasing the race and the rush, activating the abstract mind and ancient awareness to perceive and receive symbolic support. When you're ready, Miyuki, again, thank you. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and I apologize if I'm not. All right. I really want to note, up here feels very space, and where the silver went in, and I went a little bit beyond the typical ink blot with some abstract. That's what intuitively came through. And it feels very space and stars oriented. Like I'm drawn in at the top here, and I'm seeing cows. I don't know if that symbology means anything, or maybe something about milk or dairy, perhaps even a mother, if there's something in your line. I'm also seeing horses. And when I say horses, I don't mean an actual horse. No, I don't mean an actual horse, but I see the horse. Of course, that symbol may mean something to you. But it's almost like it's something in the brain that can move, okay, like a chariot. And it's like a movement in the brain. Yes. And it's something about the stars in space. Wow, that was a journey. So it's almost as if I'm seeing a constellation, and this horse has a saddle. And up at the top here, I'm not sure if you can see it in the ink blot, but right in about here, there's two beings, like solar beings. And it's kind of transforming as I'm gazing upon it, like a skull of something, not a human skull, but like if I was in a desert, and you know how sometimes like the logic mind of wordage just doesn't seem to come through, but that's what I'm seeing it. But it has silver eyes. So I'm going to say it because if anything, I'll hold my own space to freely say nonsense that may make sense somewhere. Ancient aliens. That's what that's reminding me of. Like I'm in a different part of time seeing this skull, but the eyes are silver. So it's like you might have been here at a particular time, and it feels more deserty. So wherever that may have been at that time frame. I'm not sure if that makes any sense, but it was very curious to explore. And then as I'm coming down here, I should get like a little stand or something. Well, like I want to note, when I look at this whole thing, one I'm seeing, when I zoom out, one of those incense holders that are reversed. So like I would put the incense holder or the incense here, and it would burn, and like smoke would go down it. Yeah, I don't know the actual wordage for it, but I'm also being drawn in here. And there's angel wings up there above your head. Give me a moment. Thank you. Okay, so there's something about being empathic in nature, but I'm not sure it's in the way I think every empath obviously channels and communicates in their own way, their own symbology, of course, but bear with me here. It's almost as if I'm getting the sensation that yes, there's the empathic from, being able to feel emotion, but almost like a telepathy, empathy. So I'm not even sure if that makes sense. So I don't know if it's like reading minds or an empathic extension in air versus and or typical fluidity of water, of feeling. Does that make sense? It makes sense to me. I'm sure I'm not saying it in the most graceful way, but nonetheless, it's like the empathic landscape, though there's water, works a lot in the air. So I don't know if that's where your communication most resides, and it does. It kind of feels like telepathy, or like reading minds, or maybe like hypnosis or something. And it's connected into this space. You're very strong about it, or that's how it's feeling to me anyway. And something about a thumb. I just, as I said that and I saw it, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, is that a movie? I'm not sure if I've actually ever seen it. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I've got the mic on today. I'm not sure if it's better or worse, but I'll try not to muffle. Yeah, maybe that movie has some sort of knowing or understanding. Okay, so I'm also seeing a feminine energy that has her arms down, and I don't know if I actually see them as like buttercups on the ends, but that's not the point, because there's a particular kind of grace in some sort of martial art. And like I keep seeing somebody do that. Like, I don't know if they're taking swords out or nunchucks or a bar. There's a whole bunch of different movements I'm seeing with different weapons. But the buttercups is reminding me, maybe it's a spiritual thing or an ethereal thing, protection, because there's like two sets of them, like a dense and spiritual, esoteric, exoteric kind of feel. Q-tips as well. It's almost like if you saw somebody doing martial arts for the art of it, and like they could incorporate it into a dance, like Tai Chi, but you could also weaponize Tai Chi if you could speed it up and add something. Or maybe like a kung fu, something along that lines. It feels ninja-like, and I say that because it can be done very swiftly, but with this buttercup, Q-tip, pussy willow, grace and softness. Okay, I'm going to keep traveling down here. Miyuki, thank you so much for continuing to hold that space. It looks like there's somebody in like okay, so possibly in the higher mind, in regards to if I wanted to travel down the rabbit hole of twin soul, this, that, or the other, and I don't want to get, jarred up in that linguistics or definitions, but in the spirit of that, somebody who can and does resonate with what I'm getting. It's because it's in the realm of the higher mind that not challenges you necessarily, but is compatible at the caliber in which consciousness is. I don't know if you're with somebody or or looking for a partner. I feel like it's where I am right now, as I'm feeling, it's like it's not my primary, and maybe it's because I already have it, and I don't know, it's in the unseen, or it's just something that's brewing, because I'm seeing like something up there it's white, and it's brewing in like this, and brewing in a good way. like cloud of possibility. And I say white because it's in what I'm seeing is like the clouds of consciousness. And it's almost like not in order, but when they come together or seen, met, interacted, this connection will be understood at a consciousness level, subconscious consciousness, all that kind of good stuff. Okay. I do yammer and ramble, yammer and ramble. And I adore it. I'm seeing a wishbone as well. Some sort of wish. Okay, so when I'm traveling down here in your ink blot, in here, I'm not sure if the camera, yeah, okay, so there's some red in there and it's in the shape of a heart and then it travels out here. Okay, so that's where I'm at right now. So what I'm seeing is like a dark heart, and this isn't scaring me in any sort of way. It either makes me feel like, one, there's a portion of you that completely understands the shadow and the shine and all that kind of good stuff, but this makes me feel like through the wishbone, it's grief. There's maybe some sort of heartbreak. Okay, so, and with the red behind it, it's like it's healing, and I can see the heart slowly beating back to red. And whether or not the other connection I was talking about, the consciousness connection, is in regards to a partner personally, but when I was talking about this heartbreak and this grief, it brought me back up there. So I'm grateful for that efficiency, that connection is now in the realm of consciousness. And that's why, like the white, there was spirit working there in that cloud. Okay, so that's where they're working with you now. And I think that has something else to do with, if I may, because of what I'm seeing as strength is in like telepathy and communicating telepathically. And I don't know if it's something that you already do naturally and perhaps will begin to work on. It's almost like learning another language. Like you already know maybe like the swear words or something, something fun. But it's like now it'll be like, oh, I'm going to, and whatever the tasks may be or the efforts, physical or non, to build upon that. Because it is in a ship. I'm also seeing a red scarf. And I don't know if it's a poodle or some sort of animal is in this ship here. And maybe it could even be a bird as well. Oh, I just heard that song. I don't know if it's she or he, but it's a bird dog. Dun, 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 dun. Dolly was a teacher. He's a bird. He went and tiptoed out to meet her. He's a teacher's pet now. What a dog. I don't know. Very fun though. Okay, and I'm going to travel down. Oh, okay. So I am in this section right here. I feel like there's this own little story that's being had here. And I'm seeing a person here and a person here, and see how they're like reaching. Like that's how I feel like they're reaching. And there is possibly like an earth skunk. So something about boundaries. But they're like helping, like reaching for a hand and pulling them back up. And I'm somehow not seeing it as a game, but almost like in this playful way of being children, like you would lean back and be like, oh, you would lean back. And I also want to note that where there's gray, I don't know why I did this, but I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so in this being, it's down here, and in this being, it's up here. There's some sort of balance in that whole game of boundaries. It's like there's a mask in there. A mask and a mess. A mask and a mess. There's almost, in a hilarious way, and I appreciate it popping in, is like the movie Dumb and Dumber. It's fantastic, and I want to break out laughing even though it feels very serious. But it's friggin' hilarious because there's something so innocent and playful about help and being a part of a balance. Now, I will also note it makes me feel like there's somebody, whether they're around you in spirit or will be stepping forward in one way, fashion or another, this, that, or the other, that you could work with for that support. It does feel spiritual in nature, and that is a big old term, but I know I don't need to explain that. But like a big old umbrella term, and a whole lot of stuff can be mixed into this, and it's not even just held in the spiritual realm, but it's almost as in the higher realms of helping and healing. And I'm going to be cheesy and say from a holistic standpoint, but when I say that, I'm immediately brought here, back up here to space. And I don't know what kind of creatures there I'm seeing. They do have their mouth open down here. Again, it's like there's some sort of a connection. And it's like there's taking turns to help clear the fog or smog of frequencies while being, thank you, while being earthly and incarnate, and helping those boundaries be of being. But I keep being asked to say yes, earthly, but this is all very purple and white of a higher holistic, right? Hopefully you can understand, read my mind to maybe find the language, or just know. I don't know. Just know. Okay, I'm going to flip it to win it here. And let's start adding on some Tarot and Oracle for Miyuki. Okay, so sweet. These characters up here look like cartoons having a conversation. And it's almost like as they... this may be somebody already in your life, or it's somebody that you're attracting, or somebody that you're going to step forward to, or vice versa, yada, 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 yada. And I don't say that in a willy-nilly, like it's to be, taken for granted. But it's almost like that's how it will come together, and maybe it already has, is that it's like, oh. But it's like a cartoon. Because it's almost like there's a particular amount of comic relief in it. We're here for Miyuki. All right. Night Song, Hidden Talents. This brings me right into when I was seeing that heart beating again. I remember when I said it was like attached, or how I felt anyway, that it was attached to that higher consciousness connection of communication. For me, the cardinal is generally a male in spirit, and typically a father figure or grandfather. But that's how it resonates for me. And then we have Ghost of Regret. This isn't about, and of course, absolutely, you may have regrets in regards to this male that perhaps has passed. But that's not how I'm reading it. Okay, so I'm in here right now, and I'm in here, and all of this, like cardinal blood. One, I do know at least a portion of your star sign is Capricorn, cardinal sign. Damn right, you're a cardinal sign. And there's a particular amount of standing alone in solo. But look at all the blessings that are coming in as there's letting go. And I'm seeing like almost like a vortex, and she is, I don't know if that will show in the camera. The lighting is not my immediate concern. But she's looking up to that space again, to this, almost like, you know, there's a home away from home. And they send things down. I'm also seeing a spider in your ink blot. And it feels like a tarantula. I don't think I've ever seen a tarantula before, so if that stands out to you, maybe the symbology speaks. Oh, my nose is stuffy. Excuse me. No, we're done here? Okay. And we're moving on for Miyuki. Gotta love the creative crazy, eh? It's amazing. You just gotta follow it. There's definitely some sort of balance that's coming in. And depending on how the perspective, there's some sort of earthly power. Looking at the alchemy symbol, so maybe alchemy is something that you're sorry, perhaps there's something in regards to alchemy, and I want to say like astronomy, but I keep getting like tongue twisted and saying astrology and astronomy and alchemy. But like tying them all together and being able to add a prospect is very specifically the word coming through. And I'm sorry I keep looking over there. It's just is. That can it adds something different. And again, there's that balance, that white and white and dark, you know, the black and the white, the subcon, the con, and the empathic eye. I feel like you might also be very, I'm probably going to pronounce it wrong, sorry. The nose one of the clair, where you can smell, clair smell, and I know the word, but it's not coming in right now. Yeah. And very empathic eyes. The magician. Yeah, that's what that vortex feels like. So I think I was talking about this ghost here, possibly of this male, but I feel like it's also the ghost of knowing home or having a sensation of a home. And so there's like a vortex or something. And this is, I know it's a figure 8, but that wasn't how I was seeing it in there. But that explains it in this magician feel. Something about the tarantula, something about security. Like if I was to see a regular spider, I'd be like, oh, there's a spider. And I would, you know, kind of do what I can do to get it up and out the door. But if I saw a tarantula, it makes a statement. It makes a statement. And that security or safety, that symbol, gives the impression of hell a lot stronger than, and I'm not saying that, you know, the strength of a daddy long legs or something like that isn't strong. There's just specific strengths. The presence of this might even being gifted to you from the cardinal is this tarantula of protection. I'm seeing it by your front door as well. From prying eyes. Okay, so sorry, I'm coming back into the magician and I'm seeing it all here. That's that alchemy. But there's stars in this card. There's stars and the energy that's flowing. Something about space, whether it's, you know, in the whole ancient aliens thing, or maybe you've studied ancient star systems to modern star systems. 8 of Swords in the reverse just came out. And the World. Oh, these cards are all upside down, so let us not mind any reversals. Okay, so you have 8 of Swords. Of course, if any of these cards mean anything to you, it's more important that you follow that versus what I get. The World, and the Nine of Pentacles. Give me 2 shakes here, Miyuki, and I'm just going to take a moment. Okay, so perhaps in the grief or heartbreak of anything really in life that maybe is just, but it's coming back to life. And this 8 of Swords is like seeing, for me, it's reflective. And you know how like Cinderella, they put her dress together, like all the birds and stuff, they're like tweet, 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 and the ribbons, you know, wind around her, and poof, she has a dress. So I feel like maybe at some point in time, some dark magic has been placed upon you. And I don't mean dark like it's, I don't need to explain myself. You may absolutely know. It could also be self-inflicted self-sabotage, and I'm misreading it. And it's really a dark night of the soul, and healing was occurring. Again, healing on a very holistic level. That's that whole, because it's like I'm watching you looking in a mirror, and I'm observing it, observing it, observing it, observing. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's very multidimensional in nature. So where crows at some point in time, working within that realm, was bound. If you were bound by anything due to grief or magic applied to you, those crows have now transformed with you because they've grown with you, and the whole time they're like, yeah, we're also Cinderella birds. And if anyone handed you those strings that bound you, you're now weaving. Magician, you're now weaving. You're now weaving into a dress. And it's kind of like watching it come out into play. And if it is into grief, it's like it's the knot in the belly, the bracing of being hurt is slowly starting to unwind. I'm seeing like a roast or something in a crock pot or some sort of cooking container, and it could even just be a chicken. You know, they have that rope, and as soon as you start cutting it, it's like now it can breathe, and it settles out and takes up a little bit more space, and it should, because there is a cycle that's being ended and a cycle that is starting. The Nine of Pentacles, and this is not no willy-nilly cycle. This is very, very light. Very light, sorry. I got distracted here. Again, it reminds me of that ghost. I don't know if at some point in time, I'm just going to say it, you felt possessed by something, maybe even a person, some sort of possessed. And I'm hearing that song from, I think it's Queen, Break Free. Break Free. Okay, so there's 2 ways I'm seeing when I was talking about the cycle being broken and the cycle started. Some cycles that have been chaining you are being broken by your own alchemy of awareness. And those that are starting, and very clearly I'm hearing, or staying, because they connect you to things that serve you, so they will stay. And by making the choice of what stays and what goes, because not all, when I say cycle in one aspect, I'm seeing it as a chain, a chain of events, a chain of connection. And I'm seeing it like from a chain hanging from the edge of a house, like a rain gutter, and it draws the water down, but it flows on both sides, like almost like DNA, but I'm seeing it as a chain. And this water conduit, like that is a good chain. Do you know what I'm saying? That is a good chain. You're like, not all things that are chain are cyclically constipating or troublesome. It's like maybe you already know that. You're like, that's a good chain. That's a good chain. And it becomes a conduit for what feels very empathic in the traditional form of feeling, for the element of water to flow, for tears to flow. And I'm drawn right back or closing out here at the bottom of your blot. There's, I don't know if it's golden. See if it transforms. Like, I'm down here again. I have to look at it this way. Sorry. Not sorry, but sorry. They could be little baby golden dragons. Could be. But I feel like there's another. Could also be phoenixy. I don't have a massive catalog of ancient mythological creatures. Okay, so it's mythological. And I feel like I can just leave it there. I get lost in your ink really, really easily, like a soothing meditative state. Yeah, like when I'm in this portion, I just feel like with those empathic eyes that have strength, and maybe the clear, whatever it is with the nose, Miyuki. But when I'm down in like your mythology, I don't know what else to call it. It feels nice. It feels nice. Okay. So closing out here, we have White Rose of Hope, Moon Dance, and Butterfly Garden. I'm going to put it that way for a moment. Okay, as I'm closing out here, Miyuki, I hope this has served you well. And my last reflections are, everything is, okay. Not everything. That's so dramatic. It's not dramatic. And not everything. There's an ethereal empath energy about you. With all of this blue, white, again, like I want to typically go into water, empathically feeling, sensing, seeing, like my keys, right? See, sense, feel. But, and yes, those keys apply, of course. But when I'm in your empathic energy, from what I'm feeling, I keep like between Moon and Rose of Hope, like look at all the stars. There's a portion of you or an aspect of you that just the stars are there. Something about hope, about going home too. So maybe when this incarnation is complete, you understand, of course, the interconnected nature of all things, but you look forward to the day you kind of get to reunite with, I'm going to say consciousness collective that you are connected to by yet another chain. Okay. And then we're closing out here at Butterfly Garden. And remember what I was talking about, like a daffodil or buttercup or some sort of flower of softness. That's what it feels like. There's massive transformation happening. And I don't mean this in like, oh my God, massive. And absolutely, I don't want to diminish if you are going through something that is metaphysically massive, because you have the Magician here and the Eight of Swords. And your ink blot is clearly manifesting in the mind, everywhere. But when it comes to you, the man, the meat suit, there's something about transforming your magic, your metaphysical magic here. And something about the stars, bringing it into the aspect of astronomy to astrology. Because I keep seeing a lot of star systems. And I don't know what they are, because it's definitely not my forte. Like to look at the map. Maybe it's just an ancient awareness you have. Maybe it's just a invisible, unseen understanding with Father Sky. I'm not sure. But all right, Miyuki. Do we want to add anything else on? No, I think we're good. I feel very grateful and gratitude to you for being my muse. And now I see this as a fountain. It's a fountain. Maybe water is what helps soothe you as well. Oh, I just love it. I love it. Oh, and there's a big eye here now. I can see it. Red eye. Might have been really tired about something at some point in time. And perhaps even now, I don't know. But there's a dragonfly in that eye. A dragonfly in that eye. Highly protective. Between the tarantula and the dragonfly and the cardinal and the crows. Whatever you are working through, going through metaphysically speaking, definitely divinely protected. And also the strength to protect yourself, like doing what you need to do to protect yourself. And that brings me into, from this point of view, when I saw it like in those weapons or something, like they're both light and dark. So it's happening in more realms than one. And there's not, and that ninja style reminds me, like, you don't do things willy-nilly to waste energy. There's a patience, and there's a waiting, and there's a patience and a waiting. Maybe not necessarily when to strike and, strike, but it does kind of have that air when you're gonna, turn your attention. All right. Thank you so much for being my muse, and until next time, thank you. Miyuki, thank you.